This is John Bailey, the epic voice of Honest Trailers, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. It's a Fangirls podcast with five-ish people. The tangents and squee will continue. Squee.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode 471 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast, and it is, once again, time to draw some names from a metaphorical hat. It's actually a plastic pouch, but that's okay. And yes, I did follow through on Holly's request. Joe Pesci has been added. Will he get drawn this week? Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like a direct with a virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bengal.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Look, we're all together.
Yay!
Nothing like a federal holiday to
Mm-hmm.
give you some time off work.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't have to worry about school today either, so not worrying about the bus getting here on time. Actually, Alex got a new bus driver, and he's so better than the old one. It was so cute. Like the guy called last week and said, like, is this Alex's mom? Okay, and just asking me about him. And then at the end of the phone call, he asks, now, sometimes I bring the kids treats. Does Alex like donuts? I'm like, oh my gosh, you're his new best friend.
Besties for life.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just so sweet. And he's like, here's my phone number. I need your, this is, like, feel free to text me or call me if something is happening or if you don't know where I am, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much more information than I've had this whole time. Like,
Nice.
love this guy.
Those are the bus drivers you love and hope don't leave for quite some time.
Well, and he also mentioned that he's driven the special ed kids in the past, so I'm just kind of like, okay, you get it.
Yes.
You know what they need, so you know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So Alex is a lot happier.
Yay!
Good.
He was not doing so hot those first couple of weeks, but
Yeah.
like it's all good.
Yep. So, I don't have a whole lot of news before. Not that I think anybody is I don't think anybody's said anything, but before we get into all the nitty gritty, I would like to apologize up front for how late last week's show went up. I am so sorry. I don't want to go putting people's personal medical information out there, but my in-laws came to town so that my father-in-law could have surgery at one of the better hospitals down here. It was quite serious. So things were a little wonky without going into his personal stuff. I'll leave it at that, but I'm sure that most people can be like, okay, that's understandable, I hope.
Yes.
So,
oh yes. Yes.
I
yes,
did
yes.
not intend for the episode to not go out until the weekend. But it was very much like we had it penciled in, but with these things, you never know when the surgeon might get called off at the last minute for something else that takes priority.
Uh-huh.
And that sort of thing. So it was very much penciled in, just like we pencil everything in. And once we got the absolute go ahead, it was just so. But everything went well. That's good. Yes. He's been discharged. He is back home recuperating, so that is good.
That is good to hear.
Yay. Very good to hear.
Yes. So yeah. Things just got a little cray-cray there. A few seconds, and we didn't know if we were coming or going. So,
Glad that all is well, and
yeah. So, knock on wood, everything should be going back to normal for the future. That being said, news. Not a whole lot in the way of news. A little bit of convention news. I have not really mentioned this because it seemed like December was so far away. Now it's not. Like, this convention is in like 3 months and some change. So, and of course, being GalaxyCon, you know, I've made GalaxyCon Columbus kind of like a regular thing now because it gives me an opportunity to see Zan and Charles and Aaron now, among other people. So it's kind of a fun thing to go to. And it being GalaxyCon, they are not, they're kind of in the same vein as FanX. In fact, I think they might be owned by the same people, if you go up high enough.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, they have quite the collection of celebrities, kind of all over the place. Little bit of everything. Of course, you got some of your usuals that you're going to see it a lot. You've got George Takei, of course, Ernie Hudson. That's cool. Ghostbusters. Of course, your friend and mine. Barry Bostwick. So that's cool. Do have a few. Will Eaton. We did. We good to see Will again. But a few that I am excited about, specifically Jeff Ward, who at the moment I think most everybody knows from the the live action One Piece. He was Deke in the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that's cool. This one, Chauncey is actually planning on going with me. He's quite excited. Martin Cove. He's quite excited for him. Yeah. AKA John Kreese in the Karate Kid franchise. So, and then this one was announced a while ago, but now that Holly has jumped on the bandwagon, you know, it's a bit of a haul, but you know, you could get from Wisconsin to central-ish Ohio. Phil Dunster, who's Jamie Tart.
Yep.
Ted Lasso. And then just announced today, Cristo Fernandez, Football is Life! Also from Ted Lasso. Yes. Also from Ted Lasso. And then this one made me crap my pants. Almost literally. Freaking Weird Al! I know! It's just who the yeah. I have 3 months to figure out how to make sure that I have the power of speech so that I can get my MacGuffin from 12 years ago when first and only time so far I've gotten to meet Weird Al, where I couldn't even tell you what my own name was. So, yeah. Yeah. First time meeting Colin Baker, burst into tears. First time meeting Weird Al, power of speech right out the window. So, obviously with Colin Baker, I've redeemed myself since then. I've had several opportunities. Weird Al, I've been waiting 12 years for this opportunity to redeem myself. So, my time is coming. I just need to straighten myself out in the next 3 months and some change. So. Oh, so yeah, if you're in Columbus, Ohio in early December and you see a crazy lady that looks like she might, her brain might have exploded, that's probably me. Of course, Chauncey's excited to meet Weird Al again too, but he could speak, so
Well, he can interpret Rachel speak if need be.
yes, he tried. So that is very exciting. I mean, like, I don't know who else they can announce really, other than Clark Gregg. Clark Gregg is the only other person where like I would crap myself.
Or a few other cast members from Ted Lasso, considering what rumors have been going around.
That's also very true. So maybe if we get enough of them, maybe we can get some sort of announcement out of them. Maybe.
Yeah. Sort of. Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yes.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So, yeah, come to Columbus, Ohio in December and have fun or make fun of me. Whichever. I don't care. I won't judge. I'm sure Xana's going to have a heck of a time. She's just going to laugh at me. I know she is. She's allowed, though. And she's met Weird Al like 3 times. So, you know, maybe between her and Chauncey, they can both interpret for me if something happens. Anyway, speaking of Xan, here's a segue.
Yes.
New episode of Gold Standard in the feeds for you. Going back to animation territory, where we talked about Beauty and the Beast.
Woohoo!
One of the marquee films of the Disney animation renaissance.
Yep.
The late 80s and early 90s. So, quite interesting because, once again, this is one that both Nick and I have seen too many times to count. Xan has never seen it all the way through.
Really?
Just, but she never sat down and watched it all the way through. Same with Nick. Nick was, he got the gist. Is that right? But Nick had not seen it like a bazillion times, but he was iffy. It wasn't solid for him. And then Heather, obviously, she lives near Disney. She's a big Disney fan. She had seen it a lot. In fact, I'm going to use some Disney terminology here. Back when she worked for the Mouse, she used to be good friends with Belle.
Oh, wow.
That's that's how well she knows Beauty and the Beast. So that us coming at it from different experiences makes for an interesting discussion. So, but Xan was definitely the most wet behind the ears when it came to this discussion. So, but we clued her in.
All right.
So,
we'll have to go find out what the final verdict was from the Beauty and the Beast newbies.
Yes.
Does it hold up to those who might not have wanted to dress up as Belle for Halloween when they were in 2nd grade?
Yeah. Yep. So there is that. And we are in a new month.
Yep.
And unofficially summer is over. So we're back to doing regular book club updates.
Yes. Well, we kind of had it, I think, with holiday and that voting kind of forgotten. So I had to draw 2 names, and then I decided to narrow it down from 4 to 2. And I thought, what the heck? I'll just, whichever first one I pick is going to be September. after the coin flip, narrowed it down. So I have September and October's book choices. September's book is Roof of the World, which is Big Finish audio, and then October's book, is going to be Shadows of Avalon. And then in October, I will put up the the poll for November. So
All right.
we just got to make sure. I got to remember more reminders for vote.
Mm-hmm.
Vote. I mean, I understand things get busy.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
We
this
had needed to
summer-
vote for several months, so yeah.
Exactly.
Also, I don't know about everybody else, but this summer's just kind of kicked my butt.
Yeah, that too.
With life and stuff and things, and I mean,
Yep.
I don't know if it's going to start calming down now that school's back in and the weather and fall and stuff, but I kind of hope so.
Mm-hmm. We can only hope.
Right. So we're just hopefully people's lives, if yours has been as crazy as mine, hopefully it will start to simmer down somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully the technical guys will help out Big Finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh my gosh, those poor people. Like,
Oh,
I mean, I have a fair amount of stuff
Same
in
here.
my account and
Yep.
and all those things, and the new website I looked at, I'm like, hey, this is nice. I mean, it's good to refresh and things, but then all the technical stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
guys, this sucks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm still waiting for my largest library to kind of finally make it back to the old app. So if I have
Yeah,
to
no,
download and upload to someplace else.
Yeah,
Or there is Spotify for the older stuff that I want to listen to. So it's like, hey,
and
send
this
me
is
them good techno vibes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a good reminder for those of you who have bought stuff off of Big Finish. They do give you the option to download it to your personal hard drive, so you have
Yes.
it backed up. So
Yes.
it is like it's not just in the cloud on a server in some wherever. You have it. So
Cardiff.
yeah,
Yeah.
in a broom cupboard in Cardiff or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's where all Doctor Who was held.
pretty much. So yeah, so if there are other technical issues like this in future, you can at least you have it on your hard drive that is in your house that you get to keep
Yes.
because you bought it.
Mm-hmm.
So I commend. I've always been on the good on you, Big Finish, for doing that because it's getting spiky out here with those kinds of things. But thank you, Big Finish, for letting us own our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Why we love you. Well, among other things, but that's a big reason.
Yes. We love you for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
That's a one. Call us.
Yes, please and thank you.
We
Just
will
saying.
review anything and everything.
Yep.
As long as we're allowed to be honest.
All the things. All the things. So there is that. And one more tiny little thing. Speaking of books, if you were not aware that the Dragon Awards have occurred.
Yes.
DragCon is over, and unfortunately, Jared did not win
No.
in his category. But in this case, even being nominated is a big deal.
Yes.
You know.
So this was our, and we were kind of, they didn't live stream it, but we have people tweeting about it or following on social media. So we were kind of like, okay, we're watching, and Jared is like, he's like, first off, he didn't even know he'd been nominated in the first place. Second off, he's like, okay, he's like, I don't even know if I'll win or anything like that. But this is the thing about the Dragon Awards is because like in comparison to like the Hugos or the Nebulas or those more industry, the ones that the publishers have more control over and things like that, there seem to be a bigger variety, a wider range of types of books nominated. like they deal with different kinds of subject matter, or there's you want to talk about diversity. There is diversity out the wazoo here, and not just that superficial kind that publishing tends to favor. So it was like, I mean, some people were all like, oh, we didn't win, or the one I wanted didn't win, or there was some disappointment, but we're just kind of like, no, this is a good thing, because this is actually more indicative of the kind of people who are into sci-fi and fantasy, who are into these things, into these fandoms. And yes, there is there are some publishers who are like, ooh, we got to put ours up front and stuff, but there's also these indie um, authors, indie publishers, small presses that are also getting recognized alongside the big trad pub stuff. So we're chalking it up to a win, and we're just like, hey, a lot of these, a lot. Just being nominated I mean, I know people are like, oh, you didn't win, and like, you're just saying that, but it's like, no, this is actually a really good thing, because, I mean, think about it with, like, the Oscars. We'll use that as an example because it's one we're all familiar with. There are a lot of movies that get nominated that people are like, I've never heard of this movie, but now I got to go watch it because it's nominated for an Academy Award, and people do that. And so I think the same thing kind of holds true with here. Is like, oh, I've never heard of this author, this book, but it's nominated for this award. I want to go read it and see, and if it's something they're going to be into, awesome. If not, hey, thanks for giving it a try. So so it feels like it's a greater celebration than some other snooty book awards that I could name. We actually had a funny conversation at work with somebody. Well, because I told her about how I know how the Caldecott and Newbery Award winners get picked versus we've started our voting period for Utah's. It's called the Beehive Award, which is it's kids get to vote on the books because they're kids books, teen books, that kinds of thing. And I'm like, these are so much more fun because these were picked for the kids, and the kids get a vote, and this is who wins. And I think that's a better. It's the same kind of thing. It's a better award because these are the people who are actually going to read your book or going to enjoy reading your book, and it's not just some committee back east saying, oh, this is the one that we think that children should love, or this is the one that we think those nerds ought to love. No, this is you guys picked, so viva la dragon, I guess is what we're saying. So, and thanks to everyone who did vote, and who did support Jared. That was it was awesome. It was a good deal, and he's fine. He's happy. I think we would have like both passed out if he had one.
Yeah.
And he actually did. There was somebody that he knew that was there that he sent an acceptance speech with. So like, here, could you accept this too, in the off chance that I win? But no,
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good experience, and we'll see how it goes in the future. Now I'm like, well, let's get Mech Bunny nominated next year, because I think Mech Bunny might kick ass.
Yeah, so now that he's been nominated, you know that's a thing.
That's a thing we can do now.
Yeah.
So we'll enlist our peeps and be like, hey, you guys did it last year, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Because Mech Bunny's actually doing quite well in sales and in reviews. Like, if you haven't read it yet, there's another, and it's a plug. Again, if I haven't plugged it enough, go read Jared's newest Mech Bunny. It's not part of a series. So far, it's a standalone, so you can just pick it up and enjoy it. And if you're wondering what Mech Bunny means, well, go read the book.
Yeah. We already gave you a little bit of a synopsis in a different episode. It's not our fault if you weren't paying attention.
That is true. I kind of told you. But it's on Amazon and in Kindle Unlimited, so if you have a KU subscription, you can just grab it and go.
Yep.
Anyway, but congrats to the winners, and I saw pictures of people at Dragon Con over the weekend, and it was like, oh, this looks like so much fun. So it looks like it was a good time.
Yep. All right, moving on to feedback. Got some feedback from Shalane. And Shalane says, yes, I'm a big fan of Napoleon Dynamite. It's one of those highly quotable movies, just like The Princess Bride and Nacho Libre. Yeah. I've never seen Nacho Libre, but yes, definitely quotable like The Princess Bride. If you didn't know, they just... Huh?
I was gonna say, I find you have to have a certain kind of sense of humor to enjoy Nacho Libre, or you have to be in a certain kind of mood for it. It is funny. It is. It's a hoot. It's just, yeah, you have to be in the right mood for it.
If you didn't know, they just announced that Erica Henningsen and Kristen Alabato, two of the original Mean Girls on Broadway, are coming to FanX. That's amazing news. Who knows? Maybe next they'll announce Michael Crawford, the original Phantom of the Opera, and Judy Kuhn, the original Cosette from Les Mis and the singing voice of Pocahontas. FanX is going to be incredible this year.
Well, keep dreaming. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Another thing I forgot to mention about FanX is, speaking of High School Musicals, we got 3 High School Musical stars coming to FanX this year: Corbin Bleu, Lucas Gribble, I don't know, and Casey Stroh will be there. My 13-year-old self is so happy and wishes I could go. Also, fun fact, the 3rd High School Musical was actually released in theaters. Interesting. But the first 2 weren't, but the 3rd one was. So.
I'm surprised they haven't screened all 3 of them at some point in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it time.
At least around here, because
yeah, you definitely think that that would be something they would do.
Yeah, I mean, as most people know, it was filmed in Salt Lake.
Yep.
And like for years, it was like High School Musical is like our big claim to fame, and I'm like, oh, okay. I actually haven't seen any of them.
Yeah.
Elaine has, which is fine.
Yeah. Well, that was the claim to fame, but now, although it's been several years, which could be like, the show was filmed here.
Yeah,
so.
now we're all like, ooh, Olympics, that's next. That's our next big thing.
Yeah.
In 10 years.
The hockey.
Oh, the hockey. Well, yes, the hockey team. Yes.
Yeah.
Should be.
That'll come in handy.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Yep.
They're gonna have a preseason game. I drive by the arena where our minor league hockey team plays every day, and they have their big marquee advertising all the things that are coming, and it's been for months. It's been advertising Utah Hockey Club versus the Colorado Avalanche in a preseason game on like October 5th, and so yeah, I'm like, they're getting excited. I will have to watch from afar, sadly. It's expensive.
Yep. Well, that is Shalane's feedback. Thank you, Shalane, for your feedback, as always. Appreciate it. Moving on. I'll get those browser windows open to the IMDb's and the Wikipedias. I mean, it could be Wikipedia. It could be some of them from Star Wars. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Wikipedia.
TARDIS Wiki. Who knows?
All the wikis.
All the wikis.
Who knows, except for the bag.
The bag of stuff.
Yep. Yep. Speaking of which, I need to pull open the list so I can check off whoever it is that gets pulled. All right. In fact, I'm realizing now I haven't even checked off the people we did last time.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's not like they can get pulled again, because I don't put them back. They go in the trash after they've been
They get
So,
recycled.
yeah, not like they can get pulled again, but still.
Right.
All right. I know Holly is going. Come on, Joe Pesci.
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay. I can tell you now, it's not Joe Pesci.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yes. That being said, this person, this actor, this guy, who you may not realize he's actually Scottish, because I think for the most part, what people know him from is he uses an American accent of some sort. The stuff I've seen him in, definitely not been Scottish. So, of course, being from across the pond, he has done period pieces. He's done television and film. He's been nominated for a BAFTA. We have talked about one of the movies he's done.
Okay.
Let's see. He is from Glasgow. Has a younger sister and a younger half brother.
It's hard because I'm like thinking of Scottish actors, but I'm like, but no, I know they're Scottish.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he in one of our tentpole fandoms?
Technically,
Oh, this one's hard.
technically he is. Technically he is.
Okay.
Does he
So
is okay? So he usually uses an American accent. So
yeah.
is he mostly done like American TV shows? He's obviously won a BAFTA.
Um.
I'm just asking. He's predominantly American produced shows.
The stuff that he's probably best known for, yes,
Okay.
definitely.
I have enough.
Unless you really dig deep into, especially his early. I think most of his early stuff is more across the pond. So, in fact, one of his early film roles is in a movie that contains several people that we know. Kind of a who's who of
I found a list of Scottish actors, but now I'm like looking like I only know about half of them, if that.
yeah.
I mean, the one that jumped to mind, but when you said it was mostly American, that took David Tennant right out of the running.
Right. We've
Yeah.
already done David.
Well, and I'm
That's
like,
right.
And we know
is
he's
it
Scottish.
okay?
Right.
Yeah, it's not James McAvoy. We know he's Scottish.
Oh, that is who it is.
Really?
I did not know he was Scottish.
Nice, Chrissy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because
I
I'm
was
like,
looking
wait
at
a
his
minute.
Wikipedia
I
right
know he's
now.
Scottish. I've heard of
Yeah.
him. Okay.
I didn't know he was Scottish.
Well, and like McAvoy, like he kept coming to my brain. I'm like, no, I know, and like, but
You know he's Scottish. I did not know he's Scottish.
Okay. Okay. Well, now that you say that, because I'm like, because in Narnia, it wasn't a Scottish accent. It was like an estuary, English estuary accent.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the same with Professor X in First Class. Crap. Now I'm like, I know I've seen him in more things.
I'm pretty sure he uses it's not a Scottish accent. He's the voice of Romeo in Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
I'm like, that's the thing we've done that's the
Right,
thing he's
yeah.
in that we've done. It's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, as far as like the X-Men is concerned and the in the Unbreakable mini Shyamalan verse.
Oh gosh.
He uses all sorts of accents, so it's like who knows if any of them are even close to what his actual accent is. So and I haven't seen the updated version of it. So
yeah, I'm not up.
But considering that takes place in Maine, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a Scottish accent. So
Probably
No.
no.
Huh. I did not know he starred in one of my favorite British TV mysteries. It's based on a book series, Inspector Lindley. Cool. Have to figure out which episodes he starred in and
yes,
rewatch.
James McAvoy. Yep.
So
his father was a bus driver, then worked in construction, and his mom was a nurse. Both of his parents. We know for sure that his mom has passed. According to McAvoy in an interview with The Guardian in 2022, he said both of his parents were deceased, but he has not spoken to his father since he was a kid. So, yeah, his parents separated when he was 7, divorced when he was 11. He lived with his maternal grandparents. His mom lived with them off and on. But yeah, he's not had any contact with his dad for a very long time. So if his dad is alive, he's who knows. So this seems to be so common, especially with actors across the pond. He briefly considered becoming a priest.
Okay.
Because it seemed to be a way to explore the world via missionary work. And then when he was in school, he worked at a bakery. So, he applied to join the Royal Navy and was accepted, but he was also offered a place to study at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama. And that's obviously the direction he decided to go.
He had a few opportunities there.
Yeah. Yeah, his acting debut is at the age of 15 in a British film called The Near Room. He said later that he was not very interested in acting when joining the film, but he was inspired to study acting after developing feelings for his co-star.
Interesting.
Eventually, he graduated from the Academy of Music and Drama in 2000. So he moved to London. and did a bunch of course, very British institutions, or stuff, film, TV. He is in the big 11-hour miniseries of Band of Brothers. He was in Frank Herbert's Children of Dune.
Which that one surprised me, but then again, I haven't seen that one, so.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
One of the highest rated programs on the Sci-Fi Channel. Apparently he has at least a small part in Bollywood Queen. Have you seen that one, Chrissy?
I have not.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Apparently it is West Side Story meets Romeo and Juliet with Bindis.
All right.
Considering West Side Story is essentially Romeo and Juliet,
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
seems
say, I was
kind
like,
of repetitive, but
similar enough, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is there. I mean, just kind of. Okay, the film was released in 2003. I'm gonna have to look that one up. That one looks like it might be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think the first thing most of us probably knew him from is obviously the Chronicles of Narnia as Mr. Tumnus. I mean, if you have read the Chronicles of Narnia, you know, at least the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, is Mr. Tumnus. He's like everybody's favorite because he's the first character that Lucy meets in Narnia, and there's this whole this whole beginning of it. Now I'm like, oh, I need to go read those books again. And it's like, when they say, oh, they're gonna do a movie of the Chronicles of Narnia, and obviously this is after Lord of the Rings had been out and all this, and those are kind of related in the fact that Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were friends. And it's like, okay, you better do this right, and you better get these characters, especially like Lucy and Mr. Tumnus. Well, I mean, all the Pevensey kids, obviously, but Lucy's like the big one. Like, you better get this right, and they did. Same with Mr. Tumnus, and I'm like, oh, I was like, I've just always loved James McAvoy for like, oh, you did Mr. Tumnus right, and then he went on to play a younger version of Charles Xavier, who we already loved from Patrick Stewart's portrayal in the X-Men movies, and they do the sort of the First Class, and I was like, he did great, all of the above.
Yeah. Which was why I was a little like, is he in one of our tent poles? I'm like, well, thanks to Deadpool, technically now, yes.
We'll see. He's there. He's connected.
Like, technically they obviously we're fairly removed from Deadpool and Wolverine, but still I don't necessarily spoil it for anybody. But technically all both the Patrick Stewart and those X-Men and McAvoy and those X-Men they're technically the same X-Men because they're younger versions.
Yes.
But their universe, as far as the big MCU is concerned, yes, they are part of it. They're not necessarily part of our universe within the MCU, though.
Yeah. So
we're still playing with the multiverse here. So yeah, technically part of the MCU, but not necessarily part of our universe that we're most familiar with.
But regardless, as in terms of like, it feels like the X-Men movies, they're the ones that everybody loves. They're the ones that are just terrible, and then there's ones that are kind of in the middle. And I mean, I think First Class and Days of Future Past are definitely considered some of the best ones that they've done, and he was in those. Apocalypse was fine. I didn't love it, but it was okay. I think that's the last one I've actually watched. Because I didn't watch Dark Phoenix, even though I'm like really interested in that storyline, but apparently nobody
been there, done that.
Series can get it right. but no, like, anytime he shows up, like, I did, because I did watch Becoming Jane, which is like kind of not really a biopic of Jane Austen, but sort of a fictionalized version of like her life story. But he plays the male lead, the Jane Austen's love interest, and that one's pretty good. That was a fun one. I wouldn't stake your entire knowledge of Jane Austen based on that movie, but there are some. It's a fun movie. It's enjoyable, and if you're kind of you're a bit of a hopeless romantic enjoyer of historical romance like I am, have someone like James McAvoy playing the male lead. It's just kind of like, yes, this is all I want. Just pop my popcorn and I will enjoy myself for the evening.
Yep. And he is also the romantic lead in Atonement. Which I've never seen, but again, period war film. So he was in Last King of Scotland. And actually Forrest Whitaker suggested him for it, which Forrest Whitaker plays said quote unquote Last King of Scotland, plays a dictator in Uganda. But that's then of course off and on in the X-Men franchise as they've stretched that thing out. Of course, Romeo and Juliet. You can go hear our review of that.
Yep. I have heard good things about Arthur Christmas. I have not watched it. It's just one of those I'm like every Christmas like, oh, I should watch this, and then I don't. But he plays Arthur Claus. I imagine that's the main character. So let us know if you've watched Arthur Christmas, and is that one we need to add into our Christmas movie rotation. Sounds like a fun one. He had a cameo in Muppets Most Wanted. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then the best thing I know him from, because I've been very hit and miss with the X-Men movies, but I have seen all of the, whatever you want to call it, the Unbroken
the
mini universe, M. Night Shyamalan verse, which starts obviously with Unbroken with Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson, and then we got Split, which James McAvoy stars, and people did. The big twist at the end is that it's part of the same universe that Unbroken takes place in.
Although, I mean, like I said, like all the movies I've mentioned that I know him from, and I'm like, oh, he's like such a fun actor, such a sweet, charismatic guy, and then you see him in that, and you're like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go hide under the bed now. Thank you.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched it. I saw clips of it with him just being completely unhinged, and I'm like, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it absolutely is. I mean, comparatively to other Shyamalan movies, like, it's scary, but it's not like until you are introduced to, because he plays a guy who has DID, because we don't call it multiple personality disorder anymore. It's dissociative identity disorder.
Right.
And he kidnaps these girls. One of his personalities kidnaps these girls. And through the process of their capture, we're introduced to a number of his personalities, but there's one personality that's more dangerous than the rest of them. And it's not till we're introduced to that one that it really becomes more like body horror-esque. But even then, it's comparatively to some others, it's not like grotesque or anything. it's quite an
very
it's an
disturbing.
interesting portrayal of someone with DID, and fairly accurate, I think, from what I remember, people talking about it, actually, other than the supernatural personality, but all the others, it seems to be, at least on the surface, fairly accurate to what it's like. But then, the twist at the end is we discover that it's connected to Unbreakable. And that leads us to Glass, where Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson are brought back together, along with McAvoy's character and all of his personalities, and these three characters kind of come to head, along with some other characters, some we've seen before, some we haven't, and we just kind of discover more things about those individuals, but also what it means for the world, the society that they live in within that particular verse. So, that's, I would say the third one, the third movie, it's a trilogy essentially. The third one, it's okay. Shyamalan is a fantastic writer, but sometimes I think sometimes he just gets ideas, but he ends up writing himself into corners.
Yeah,
and it has to figure out how to get out of them. And sometimes is the way the path he decides to get out is not necessarily the most creative or interesting. So
there's sometimes he needs like a co-writer or somebody to be kind of like, okay, let's tighten this bit. I mean, he's more of an editor or something like that. But for a long time, because he started out with the Sixth Sense and some of those others in his early career, they're like, oh my gosh, this guy is a master. He can do no wrong. And then he kind of started getting a bit more full of himself, and you're like, oh honey.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back.
Yeah.
So, but now, like now he's kind of gotten into a point where he's like, okay, he's got it again. We're good.
Yeah.
So it's
I heard his latest is a little hit and miss, but
yeah, that's I've heard that as well. So it's like it's not, he's not one of those. It's like, oh, anything he does is going to be amazing. It's when he's on, and when he's not, oy.
Yeah. That being said, the people they cast for his movies are really good.
Yes.
And
I mean, there's sometimes some dialogue that nobody can save.
Yes. But that being said, McAvoy, great casting for this, and he does a fantastic job. Being being an actor and to take on a personality and act like somebody who's maybe sometimes very different from you is not easy. That's why actors, good actors are good, are considered good at what they do. And this character that McAvoy plays in two movies out of this trilogy is he's playing someone with multiple personalities. And it's not just a matter of changing the voice, because when it comes to actual DID, it's not just voice. It is like your accent or whatever. It's
your mannerisms,
your tone, your patterns, your body language, like everything that that can have someone be able to identify you as you. Changes with each. I mean, each personality is distinct.
Yes.
And he does a fantastic job of portraying everyone that you actually believe that is a very unique and fleshed out personality. They're seemingly different ages and races and genders and So yeah, despite what you may think of Shyamalan script writing, McAvoy, fantastic. So, like I said, he plays the adult Bill in It Chapter 2. I've never seen it. I've never read the book It. I really have no desire to. As much as I love Tim Curry, I really have no desire to watch any adaptation of It. So, and it's not that I have a thing against clowns, because I don't really, but I know the story and I know how dark it is, and that's not.
I read one of Stephen King's. It was The Eye of the Dragon. It's more fantasy, and it's a little a little lighter than his normal fare, which isn't saying a whole lot. I mean, I think Dracula is probably lighter than most Stephen King stuff, but even just reading that one, I'm like, I feel gross.
Like,
I don't know what it is about him.
You want something dark and really disturbing? Read Stephen King. You want something dark but less disturbing? Read Bram Stoker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Stephen King is a wreck. I'm sorry. If people out there like him, you are allowed to like him. You can like his work. He is.
I will say he has fantastic taste in dogs.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
He has a corgi, so therefore, that's A-okay in my book.
Yeah, but no.
And its nickname is Thing of Evil.
Yeah.
Yes, Molly, aka the Thing of Evil.
I was going to say it is. You're where you know Tim Curry from says a lot about you as a person. Just that there's a reason that isn't me. Anyway, James McAvoy. Back to our topic.
Yeah.
Love him. Does a great job. All the things we've seen him in. He's a good egg.
Yes.
So go watch Narnia or something again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. He got married in 2006 and had a son in 2010. And then they divorced in 2016. And then he remarried. Well, he confirmed that he had got married again in 2022, but he didn't say how long he had been married to his new wife. So he won the Rising Star Award from the BAFTAs. He loves fantasy. He read Lord of the Rings at age 11. He is a fan of the Celtic Football Club. He says he said he once had been a video game addict, playing games like The Legend of Zelda and Elder Scrolls.
That tracks.
Yeah. But it actually it started to affect his life. I guess he got so addicted to Elder Scrolls, specifically Oblivion, he burned his disc.
Oop.
So that he would stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah. This is good for him. I would never do this, even if it is for a good cause. In 2011, he did a base jump from the world's tallest hospital building to help raise money for Ugandan children's charity.
Wow.
Yes.
Dang.
Well, good for him. Be like, I hope this money is going to the kids and not to your medical bills.
Yes.
You breaking your neck on this thing.
Yeah. And if you don't know what base jumping it is essentially where you climb really high up on a fixed object, so not a plane, because that's moving, like skydiving. This is where you climb up like a skyscraper or something, or a big bridge, and you jump off of it wearing a parachute.
No bungees.
No bungees, just you and
Zero
yeah,
gravity.
it's zero, yeah, and a parachute. So it's not like if you go skydiving and you chicken out, you just stay on the plane, and eventually the plane lands and you're safe back on the ground. This, you have to actively like jump out, and there's no turning back. There's no plane that could like swoop around and try to catch you or something. You know?
I mean, you could go back down the stairs.
Well, I
But
guess, but like if you're
or
jumping
however-
off the side of a building, you're Tom Cruising it. You're up on the outside.
Mm-hmm. You're Spider-Manning.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. So yeah. Apparently he only did that once, although he continues to support the charity. Of course, he's also a supporter of the British Red Cross. Apparently he learned a lot about like the plight of children in Uganda while filming The Last King of Scotland there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But-
And he has donated to a 10-year scholarship program at the Royal Conservatory of Scotland. That's the shortened, more modern name of where he went to school for acting. So, yeah. That's cool. So, yeah, he's won a handful of awards, a lot of nominations. Nothing major yet, but he's still young. So he's 45, so he's got
Relatively.
he's got some time ahead of him
Mm-hmm.
still. So, and now that Deadpool has done what Deadpool has done, maybe we'll see more of him as Charles Xavier, maybe not.
We'll see.
TBD. So, if all else fails, if the X-Men aren't your thing, and period pieces aren't your thing, and M. Night Shyamalan's not your thing, again, you can go watch Chronicles of Narnia or Romeo and Juliet.
Yep.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with either of those. Romeo and Juliet, still one of my favorite adaptations of Shakespeare.
I'm glad.
Well, they're not doing any performances near me, but if they ever come to Indy, there's an organization that does drunk Shakespeare.
Ooh.
If you're gonna get me to see Shakespeare, that might be the way to do it. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the actors that are drunk and not the audience, but if the audience can be drunk too, yeah, that's just win-win.
I'm sure they're serving up something
Yeah, probably.
at the concession stand.
Yeah. Okay. We got another one. I'm pretty sure that this actress is American.
Okay. All right.
Yes, she is. Woohoo! Go me.
All right.
She's younger than me. Oh, goodness.
Okay.
By a whole lot, but, I mean, she was born in 1985, so.
Okay.
Okay.
She began acting at 15 on a soap opera. Couple of soap operas, actually.
Okay.
We have two of her films we have covered. So
Okay.
the last year-ish or so. One of which she was nominated for an Academy Award. One of the films was nominated for an Academy Award.
Did we cover that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinking.
Her first feature film we have not talked about. We should. The fact that we've not yet is kind of surprising, and I'm sure Shalane is like, duh.
Okay.
Shalane is like, finally, you got to it. You just haven't yet. I'm so sorry.
Hold on.
Yeah, she got her start on one soap opera as a series regular, and then was on another soap opera for like 3 episodes. She had she's been on a few shows, both as an actress and as voice. She was in a mini series I watched a couple years ago. She's really good in it.
Okay, I have a guess. Is
Okay.
it Amanda Seyfried?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
The thing about Shalane wants us to cover something. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, because we have not covered Mean Girls yet.
No, we have not. And then I had to look up, like, okay, is she my age? Well, I mean, she was born in December of '85, so I'm several months older than her, but still. Anyway.
Yes, but we have talked about both Les Mis and Mamma Mia. So
yes, we have not talked about Mean Girls.
Nope.
Which is so.
She's not in the musical version.
No, but she was in the movie.
Yeah, the movie that inspired the musical, which in turn inspired the musical movie.
You know, I gotta say, first time I saw Mean Girls, I was like, okay, this is a fun movie. I never thought it would become like this big cultural thing. I was like, because I've seen so many like teenage high school movies from like the 90s and whatnot. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is in that same vein.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like everywhere, and I'm sure it's because of the memes and stuff that's a part of it. But I'm just kind of like, why Mean Girls? Like, seriously. But then again, I remember being in middle school and high school, and the girls, that's just how they treated each other. But anyway, that's life.
Yeah. She is distinctly American. She's from Allentown, Pennsylvania,
which is about a half hour from where I live.
And yes, and those of you that have a decent musical catalog in your head, you now have that Billy Joel song stuck in your head.
As soon as you said it, the chorus was was right in the earworm.
Yep. Her mother is an occupational therapist. Her father is a pharmacist. Her older sister is a musician in a rock band.
Cool.
So yeah, she went to public school in Allentown. Graduated class of 2003, so she graduated the same year as Sasquatch over there in the other room.
Love you, Chauncey.
Yeah. She enrolled in college in the fall of 2003, but didn't because she got the role in Mean Girls. So, although she was modeling, she did modeling when she was in high school. So, including several print ads for the Limited 2, along with Leighton Meester of Gossip Girl fame. Featured on 3 covers of the Sweet Valley High novel series. Okay, somebody needs to go look those up.
Yeah.
Find
read
the ones
those,
with Amanda Seyfried on the front. She took vocal lessons, studied opera, trained with a Broadway coach, and got cut her teeth in acting as an extra on Guiding Lights. Then she had a recurring character on As the World Turns, and then a bit part on All My Children. So that's the way in the UK you cut your teeth on usually some sort of BBC period miniseries.
Shakespeare or something.
Yes. Or some period something. It's either going to be Shakespeare or Austen or, one of those. Dickens, take your pick. Here in the US, you either cut your teeth in soap operas or really bad B grade and lower horror flicks. So.
Or CW dramas.
Yes.
Looking at you, Jared.
I'm just saying,
teeth on soap opera.
Some of those might as well be soap operas just for teens.
Exactly. Yes.
You're
CW.
not
Yes.
wrong.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, she auditioned for Mean Girls. She actually auditioned for Regina. Obviously, did not get it. That went to Rachel McAdams. She was considered to play Katie. Obviously, that went to Lindsay Lohan. And they decided that she should play Karen, who is essentially your stereotypical dumb blonde.
Pretty much. Although she made it. I mean, there you've seen, the dumb blonde played in
Yes.
in a lot of different shows and movies and stuff. But the way she did it was like, and it could have been partially the writing, because she does have some very memorable lines. But then, this is the way she played.
It's like I have ESPN or something.
ESPN or something. Because I'm like I said, I've watched a lot of, in my day, we watched the 90s, had a lot of those high school teen movies. And, the one I'm thinking of to compare this one to is Never Been Kissed with Drew Barrymore. And they have their version of the Plastics. I cannot remember any of those girls' names. But I've watched Never Been Kissed a lot. I love that movie. But Mean Girls, I can remember all those. I can remember those girls. And you got Regina and Karen, Katie. Now I can't remember the other two now that I've said that. But you know what I mean. They're like more interesting and more memorable than some other people. And she was definitely one of those. It was like, yeah, that's what I was like. That was like
Katie, Regina, Karen, and Gretchen.
Gretchen, that's what it was. I was like,
Yes.
And I should have remembered Gretchen, because that's the joke. Is like, and none for Gretchen Wieners. Bye.
Yes. I think I would use the word fetch, honestly. So screw you, Regina George. I will make fetch happen.
And now we've gotten her like, oh, now I'm quoting it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Again, why we've not done this yet, I don't know.
It just hasn't. I don't know. It just hasn't gotten that high on the list. I guess we'll have to move it now.
Yeah. Probably because we know we just spend the entire time quoting the damn thing.
I mean,
it's
hitting its 20th anniversary this year.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Which is insane.
Yeah, it came. Like I said, it came out right after I graduated high school, and if I had wanted to go to my high school reunion, that would have been last year.
Yeah.
And I am old, officially.
Yeah.
Like.
I hear that.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, she's pretty. She definitely made. Well, while Karen is supposed to be your stereotypical dumb blonde, she's not necessarily as dumb as one may think. She actually occasionally does have some very good insight and observances of things. But yeah, she is still kind of fairly dumb. I mean, at the end, we see her doing like the student weather, and she's outside literally getting pouring buckets on, and she's supposed to be able to tell the weather with her boobs, and she's like, it's a 30% chance it might rain. I'm like,
And yeah, it's like,
oh,
yeah,
Karen.
I think you're there, friend.
Yeah.
But it's not in a way that's like it's funny. Like you like her for how stupid she is. She's likable.
Yeah.
So it's like there've been plenty of those sort of dumb characters throughout the years, but you're either kind of annoyed by them or it just doesn't, like, for one reason or other it doesn't work, but she makes it work.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, she's definitely got that acting talent. She's a very talented actress is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yep. And then she got a role on Veronica Mars. Again, she auditioned for Veronica Mars. Obviously, that went to Kristen Bell. She plays Veronica's best friend, who, spoilers after 20 years, who gets murdered. Lily. So. So yeah. And then again, she's done bit pieces on television. She's been on CSI. She's loaned her voice to Law and Order SVU. She's lent her voice to American Dad, Family Guy, The Simpsons. She's in 4 episodes of Twin Peaks. The Return, obviously not the original, but technically is the 3rd season of Twin Peaks that came out in 2017. So. And then, as I was mentioning, she plays Elizabeth Holmes in the miniseries The Dropout, which is a true crime story about Elizabeth Holmes and her biotechnology company Theranos. And Elizabeth is a character in and of herself. She, as she becomes this, she has this idea for this medical technology that had not been able to be invented yet. And she thinks she can do it. And as she becomes founder and CEO of this company and, in turn, a public figure, she slowly molds herself into what she thinks the ideal CEO looks and acts like. And essentially she forms herself into, at least looks wise, the female equivalent of Steve Jobs. She always wears black turtlenecks, although she doesn't wear jeans. But she wears black turtlenecks, and when she speaks, she does not use her normal speaking voice. She lowers her voice like a couple of octaves. It's this really weird thing because she thinks it makes her sound, I don't know, less feminine and therefore less like a girl or whatever, and therefore people will take her more seriously. So Amanda had to figure out how to replicate the speaking voice of Elizabeth, and she does a really good job. I mean, the whole thing is just wackadoodle. The whole Theranos story. So, it's 8 episodes. I'm not sure where it is. I think it's on Hulu. Because it comes from an ABC audio podcast. And I should really listen to the podcast. So, like, if you like true crime, but not like murder true crime, but like corporate, like white collar crime, and people who with egos that think that they're a bigger deal than they actually are and smarter than they actually are, this is perfect. Uh, so, and she's really good in it. Like the entire time, I was just like, Elizabeth Holmes, you are absolutely wackadoo. And I'm glad she got what's coming to her. But Amanda does a really good job in this. So, but yeah, it's on Hulu, so you can watch it. So it's kind of a who's who as far as the cast is concerned too. I mean, she's in it. William H. Macy's in it. Stephen Fry is in it. I mean, some of it are like, you know, you're kind of your character people. So, Sam Watterson, yeah. Speaking of Law and Order, so, yeah, go check that out. Yeah. And then of course she also sings because she's done a few musicals. So, she did Les Mis, which we've covered. Obviously, the film version is crap. That being said, she is not crap. Cosette, not an easy part. Very much a soprano. You know, Amanda, I'm getting her characters mixed up. Amanda has a very distinct singing voice. She has a lot of vibrato in her voice. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just, yeah, she was trained. And that's the singing voice that she's developed. But yeah, Cosette, if you're a soprano, not easy. You know, Heart Full of Love, very high notes. That I probably could only reach if someone kicked me very hard in the gut, probably. So and she is good. She's definitely, as we talked about when we discussed Les Mis and, you know, touched upon the film version. Most of the cast, not bad as far as casting and singing ability is concerned. It's just the way they made the movie.
Right. Yeah. There are.
It is the production of the film that makes it crap.
Yeah. There are several YouTube videos go into that, but there was one. I wish I could remember the name of the YouTube channel. I'd send you all there. But like he did like this huge long documentary about why it didn't work. He did the same thing for Cats. Why the movie?
I think I've watched that same video.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. It's a fascinating thing, especially for someone like me who, like, I enjoy theater and I know a little bit about what goes into it. Definitely not to that extent. But it's just one of those fascinating things. And he goes into like what what the story, the musical, what it's supposed to mean, and why filming it the way they did was not a good idea. So anyway, maybe I should try to hunt that down and link to it because it is quite good.
Yeah, I think we touch on that a little bit in our review.
Yeah, we did, and it's like you said, I agree with you, Rachel, that like the performances themselves in that movie are really great. It's just like, I mean, you're those annoyingly huge close-ups of the characters that, like, look, you're not making them look any better. I remember that because I saw it in the theater and I'm like, okay, I'm okay with not looking up Hugh Jackman's nose.
Yeah.
Constantly. And
a little too close.
It's like that's a bit much, y'all. But no,
it's like I'm not his ENT. I don't need to be looking for the nasal cancer he has to keep getting removed from his nose.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
He's the professional for that.
But yeah, so anyway, but yeah, the music, the singing, the acting, it is good. It's just the way it was presented was no bueno.
Yep.
Like I would love to see this group of people do this movie with better production.
Yes.
But that's
You and me both, sister. You and me both.
yeah. Because Cosette she does like Siegfried does a really good job in this movie. She's
Yeah.
because by that point I was like, oh wow, she can sing. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I was impressed with that. It was a nice surprise when she and Eddie Redmayne started singing. I'm like, oh, I kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is sweet.
Yep.
So that's good.
Yep.
Another
But
movie.
before that, she did Mamma Mia.
Oh, she did Mamma Mia.
Yes. Yeah, actually, she Mamma Mia. It seems like, it's both long ago and not. But she did Mamma Mia 4 years after Mean Girls. Like that was early in her career.
That's true. Like she was quite young. I mean, like I look at the poster for Mamma Mia and I look at her and earlier and I'm like, oh my gosh, she like looks so. She's a baby, even though obviously she's a grown ass woman, but she just looks so young in that one. But yeah, that one it is cool that because there's all these well-known actors and actresses like freaking Meryl Streep, hello, and she holds her ground with all of them, with everybody in that movie.
Yeah,
so
and then
that's
she
impressive.
essentially carries it for the
Yes.
sequel because
Yes.
they killed off they killed off Meryl Streep for the second one, so yeah, Sophie is the more of the focus in the second one, so and then supposedly there's a rumor going around that they might be making a third.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there's still plenty of ABBA catalog to dive into, so the fact that ABBA's still making music, so
Well, there you go.
yeah. So, but yeah, and of course you can go and listen to our episode talking about Mamma Mia and the sequel.
Yep. And one other movie that she was in that I quite like. It's probably a lower budget, or not as big of a deal, but I saw it and quite liked it. It's Letters to Juliet. It's sort of a kind of a rom-com, but also very sweet story about so she's I'm trying to remember. So she works for the New Yorker magazine. She's a fact checker, and she's going on a pre-honeymoon with her fiance, but her fiance's kind of a dick. So he's like, it's that kind of relationship. But but they go to Italy, and there's a courtyard that is supposed to be like Juliet's courtyard, like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Juliet's balcony or something.
Yeah. So
people leave love letters.
Yeah, they leave love letters, and she finds one, and there are people that collect the letters and write back to them. They're called the Juliet secretaries.
Oh.
And this Sophie, who's Amanda Seyfried's character, she wants to join them and see, and then so she finds this one letter for of a lady or a girl from the letter was written in 1957. She wants Juliet to help her with her relationship with a boy named Lorenzo Bartolini, and Sophie, like for whatever reason, she decides she is going to find Lorenzo for this Claire. and well, she finds Claire, and they become friends, and they're like, we're gonna find Lorenzo, it's gonna happen, and it's this whole big thing. And of course Sophie falls for Claire's grandson Charlie, and so they have a love story, and it's just one of those sweet sort of, it follows Claire and Lorenzo's lost love story, and Sophie and Charlie are coming to like each other, and so obviously how it's gonna end. It's not anything super heavy or dramatic, but it's cute. It's fun. I enjoyed it. It was one of those that's just I just want something fluffy around Valentine's Day or whatever you're feeling like. So it's cute. But I guess there actually is a place, Juliet's Courtyard, where these letters actually do show up, and there actually is a book called a nonfiction book called Letters to Juliet, and it talks about people who write letters to Juliet. So that's where the idea from the movie came from. Is that's how it happened. So it's a cute movie. If that's your cup of tea.
I think I remembered seeing like a trailer for it when it was getting ready to come out. So
yeah, it's definitely one of those rom-coms that nowadays I don't think people would go to the theater to see. They'd wait for it to come on streaming. But it's cute. Check it out if you think that'll tickle your rom-com itch.
I mentioned she's still acting. So both movie and TV. So
Yep.
and she's got some album credits because of the soundtracks to Mamma Mia movies and Les Mis, and apparently a song on the soundtrack for Dear John, which is a Nicholas Sparks book adaptation. So, yeah. So, and her career, she's had some nominations and some wins. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress at the 2021 Academy Awards for Mank. She won a Golden Globe for The Dropout, a Primetime Emmy Award for The Dropout, and a Producers Guild of America Award for The Dropout. So that's cool. Actually, The Dropout has won her a number of awards. So. As should be, because it's really good. She's really good. Of course, Mean Girls won a MTV Movie and TV Award for Best On-Screen Team. That's a cool. And let's see. She had an off and on relationship with her on-screen Mamma Mia husband, Dominic Cooper, for a while there. She also dated Justin Long for a little bit there. And let's see, she married Tom Sadowski in 2017, and they have 2 kids, a daughter and a son. And she's a board member for the International Network for Aid, Relief, and Assistance. I can speak, I promise. Which provides medical services. This is serious. Rachel, come on. Which provides medical services for children wounded in war zones with a special focus on refugee children from Syria. So, another philanthropist for the kids. The kids out there. So cool. All before the age of 40. You go, girl.
Mm-hmm.
You go, Glenn Coco. Oh, wait. Wrong character. Right movie. Wrong character. Well, I don't think we need to do a third. I think that's a good stopping point.
That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of very good actors whose catalog is enjoyable, and we've all seen at least some of
and growing. because they're still at it. So
Yes, exactly. So,
Yep.
we may revisit this another day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because they'll have more to talk about in
Mm-hmm.
years and whatnot. So cool. Yeah, this is fun. We enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if
I keep things easy because today's a holiday for
right,
a number of people.
yes, and holidays are great. Anyway, well, if any of our listeners have their favorite James McAvoy and/or Amanda Seyfried roles that we did not mention here, or you just want to add to our discussion, you can send us some feedback. Go to our email address, which is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, which is thefivishfangirls.com. That has links to our social media. We have our show notes, so some of the stuff that we've talked about in the news or whatever else we'll link to there. You can also leave comments. We'll treat those as feedback. You can find our social media. We got her on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And you can also listen to our podcast wherever it is that you get podcasts. So check that out. And if you are able and would like to support us monetarily, we have a Patreon and we also have a merch shop. And that all helps support the podcast, keep us going. And as always, we thank you for your support and your listening and your feedback and all that other cool stuff you guys do. We're glad you're our audience. We're glad you're here, and hope you're enjoying it. And wherever you are, hope you are doing well
Mm-hmm.
and whatever you're doing.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, we're about done here. Till next week, where it's somebody's birthday coming up.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what that means.
Mhm.
We
Speaking
were
of Big Finish.
Yes.
mhm.
So
Got a
we
big
will
fit.
get that next episode. So for
Yes.
now, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Vango saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. You know, the Venn diagram of these two actors we covered. You know what's in the middle where they overlap? Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
You're right. I was thinking what movie they were together.
Thank you, our Fiveish fam, for joining us on this week's geeky journey. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Stay connected with us on our website, thefivishfangirls.com, and follow us on most social media with @FivishFangirls. Plus, check out our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back, to see how we're making a positive impact in our community. Until next time, stay nerdy and let the squee continue.